we get in here to our senior Boar division, and we get into heat number one. And I think for me, the entry number 4 is going to win this class. And I think one that you just got to appreciate, just his looseness, his structure. I think the way that he utilizes his hip and his hind leg. He's big in terms of his forearm. I think a Boar that balances extremely well, where you study him on the top side of his skeleton as well as the lower part of his skeleton. I think one that tracks extremely wide as he turns and goes away from you. I really like the angle to the front side of his shoulder and to his knee. I think just a really, really comfortable place to start. After that, entry number 6 is going to be second place in this class, and I really like this one. Just, from a balance standpoint, I think he's level. Boar that's got plenty enough shape and spread from his shoulders back. He's really opened up about his pin set. He's stout in terms of his feature. I think one that's extremely good in terms of when he hits the surface. I think for me, you study him in the lower portion of his muscle into his stifle. We just need to give him a shot more punch there, maybe just make him a little bit more elegant up through his front end for him to move any higher. Third is going to be entry number 5, and obviously, as you can tell on the video, one that it definitely is feeling good today. He is out there, he is running, he's feeling good. But I think when they get him stopped, I probably could fix him right behind his shoulders, make him a little bit leveler, just make him a little bit bigger in terms of his kind. I'd like to freshen him up, just a shot in the middle portion of his body. But still, I think one that offers some muscle. He's got some width there when you get right in behind him. Entry number 3 is going to round out the class, and one that I wish that I could see just a little bit better at times in the video. Just kind of wish that we could see a little bit more angles, I think, to this Boar, because I think that he does have some things to offer in terms of some width. But for me, you study him up front, he gets too closed up in his face, gets too short off either end of his skeleton, wants to get a little jammed up in terms of his hip. Really good class. My compliments to these exhibitors. We move into heat number 2 of the senior Boar division, and entry number 9 is going to win this one for me. And I think one that just reads extremely wide in terms of his back. I love his crispness, the top shape. When you get right on top of him, I think he leaves you extremely well. He's very fluid in terms of his movement. Yeah, one that's probably a shot longer past turn than ideal, but I still think that's being pretty critical of one that just gets out of motors off both ends of his skeleton. Yeah, I'd like to fix him just a shot in terms of his hip placement, where his tail sets in him, but still I think that's taken away. I mean, he's a broad-shouldered, opened up kind of a boar pig that, like I said, just gets out here and motors off both ends extremely well. Second place is going to be entry number 8, and I think one that, further complements our class winner, just in terms of his boldness of rib and his depth of body. I think the young lady does an excellent job getting this one drove. He is super fluid. He's extremely flexible off either end of his skeleton. He's opened up in terms of the width down low. I really appreciate his testicular size. I think one that just has the pieces that I think you can breed on just in terms of muscle and stoutness, where this one goes second for me. We need to open him up and crack him open right there at the base of his chest. I'd like to see him go away with just a shot more width from behind. Entry number 10 is going to be third here today, and one that looks like a happy camper on the video when he's coming at you. And that's good. He's opened up. He's wide. He's square about his knee. I think he's got some lower stifle muscle. For me, we need to fix him right there at the crest of his neck. I mean, I know he's probably pushing some maturity. I'd like to bring that down and set that down in his skeleton a shot better. But I think you study him from blade back to hip. He's extremely square until you get to the backside of his hip. Wants to duck and roll there ever so slightly. And we're going to round out the class with entry number 7. And maybe for me, I just like to see him a little bit more. Video's kind of hard to see. Kind of wanted to root up at the gate a little bit. But I think when we do get him off to the side, for me, we need to stouten him up, need to make him bigger footed, give him a shot more muscle. Just want to fix his pin set and his hip height. If he could fix that there, I definitely think he could rival the contemporaries ahead of him. But still, we just need to fix him right there in terms of his stoutness and the way that he hits the ground up front. Really good class. Congratulations to them. Heat 3 brings us 3 entries, and entry number 12 is going to take the W here in this class. And I think one that you just study him and just sheer raw masculine power. I think he's a power hog. He's really big muscled. He's big hipped. He's big pinned. I think one that comes extremely big in terms of his back. I think for the maturity of this boar, I still think he's fresh enough in his look. I like his look from the side and his balance. I think one that still gets out of motors extremely well. He's flexible off either end of his skeleton. Still got some width as he turns and goes and leaves you. Entry number 11 is going to be second in this class. And I think one that you just got to appreciate his shape, his look from the side. Maybe one for me that I'd like to stouten him up in his overall bone work, just giving him pack a little bit more punch there, I think, as he turns and goes, but still one that you like from the side in terms of his balance, in terms of his look, a very up-headed kind of a pig that maybe just need to open him up right there at the base of his forerib, give him a shot more rib shape for him to move any higher, and then we're going to round out the class with entry number 14, and I think, the red one, one that, you got to appreciate his functionality. You got to appreciate just his look and his depth of body, his roundness rib. I think a boar that it's got some width of back when the camera is laid on top of him. But I think after that, I think doesn't want to match up high what he's got down low. He's a little knock-kneed up front and just consequently gets a little bit more concaved right there when he's studying from hock to ground, wants to close up, wants to be the narrowest in terms of when he hits the dirt. So for me, that's where he goes third. Really good class. My congratulations to these exhibitors. Heat 4 brings us 4 entries, and entry number 18 is going to win for me. And I see the guy put his sunglasses on. Might be a little sunny where he's located, but I still think that he brings us a really, really good boar pig here to this class. I mean, this thing is big-pawed. He's stout-featured. I mean, he's still extremely good. He's not coarse in his hocks for how big he is. I love his shape of body. Depth of body is in his favor. I think a really round rib, just kind of fluid made boar that I still love his muscle shape. I think he's level from blade to hip. He's probably the levelest hipped one of this class. And I think when he just gets out of motors, he's got the right bend to his hind leg. He's got the right angle to his front knee and pastern. I like this boar a really, really good deal to win this class. Entry number 16 is going to go second. And one that you just appreciate his levelness, his look from the side, his balance, one that's still got some shape. He's still got some muscle. For me, we just need to bring him up in terms of his tail set, need to stouten him up right there at his tail root, and to where he hits the ground is where that one could maybe rival our class winner, but still just need to make him a little bit stouter there at the ground, bring him up in terms of his tail set for him to move any higher. Entry number 17 is going to go third in this class, and the all-black boar, one that you can just appreciate from his, he's just a very sound, structured, complete kind of a boar. I wouldn't say that there's anything there's a blaring hole in him, but I think he just comes the most plainest in terms of his shape. He comes the most plainest in terms of his look. I think one we need to fix him and just give him a shot more lower stifle, maybe bring his ear set up just a shot, give him a little bit more length ahead of his blade, and I think that one could maybe rival the one right above him, but still, like we talked, just maybe the little bit more plainer made, more nondescript boar that we have of the class. Entry number 15 is going to round out the class, and maybe one that like I talked in the one before him, just a little bit plainer made one. It doesn't have a lot of descript top shape when you get right on top of him. Probably gets the flattest in his leg, the frailest in terms of his feature. But still, I think he brings some things to the table in terms of his look, his length from the side. We just need to stout him up, maybe bring him back a shot in his condition, level him out just a shot, and he can be work his way up higher. Really good class compliments to these exhibitors. We get out here for Champion Senior Boar, and I think for me, entry number 18 just puts a lot of pieces together for me. I think one that you talk about just being stout, rugged, opened up. I think one that's extremely good from the side. He's extremely good balanced. I really like this boar's proportionality. I think when you study him off to the side, does a lot of good things in my mind. He's going to be our champion. For reserve is going to be entry number 9, and I think one that's maybe not the biggest. He's probably not the stoutest in terms of his ankle, but still I think one that gets around the pin extremely well. He's fluid off both ends. He's got some depth of body. He's got some back shape when you get right on top of him. Maybe for me, he gets just a shot peeked at his blade. Wants to fall off just a shot right there at his pins, but I still think one, in my opinion, that goes second best And for third overall is going to be entry number 4. I think a very complete kind of a hog that doesn't really have a whole lot of holes in him. I think maybe one we could probably bring his angle to his shoulder back, rock it back in his skeleton, give him a little bit more length of extension. But still, I think a really good boar that's very complete. He's round ribbed. He's got some center body, got some stoutness. Really good place to go here in third. My compliments and congratulations to these exhibitors.